I think we are ready to get started. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Good evening and welcome to the South County Fire Board of Commissioners regular board meeting for December 17, 2024. I'll go ahead and call us to order. Ask everybody to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, Mike. Dean here, so the burden is official.
Okay, commissioners, we have, you have the draft agenda in front of you. I don't believe there's anything else for the agenda. I will move to adopt the agenda as presented. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner
Second.
Farnhoff. It's been moved and seconded to adopt the agenda as presented. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, I'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. That takes us to the consent agenda items. The consent agenda items are in agenda item 4A, the claims vouchers totaling $1,116,689.12. I will move the adoption of those claims vouchers in that amount. Is there a second?
No, second.
Seconded by Commissioner Chan. It's been moved and seconded to pass the claims vouchers. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. That takes us forward on the agenda to item number 5, which is approval of the meeting minutes. We have two sets of meeting minutes this evening, the December 3, 2024 regular meeting and the December 10, 2024 work session. I'll move the adoption of both sets of meeting minutes. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Chan.
Chair,
Yes.
Chair, can we separate that because on the 10, I did not attend.
Okay, well,
I
I'll
cannot
withdraw my
vote
motion.
separately.
We'll move one by one. I'll move the adoption of the December 3, 2024 regular meeting minutes. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Teoflock. It's been moved and seconded to adopt the December 3, 2024 regular meeting minutes. Is there discussion on the motion? Discussion on the motion. If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. That takes us to item 5B, which is the December 10, 2024 work session meeting minutes. I'll move the adoption of those December 10, 2024 work session meeting minutes. Is there a second on the motion? Second by Commissioner Lawrence. It's been moved and seconded to adopt the December 10, 2024 work session meeting minutes. Is there discussion on the motion? Discussion on the motion. If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
No, I'm abstaining.
Abstention. Motion passes on a 4-0-1 vote. Commissioner Chan abstaining. Okay, that was item number 5B. That moves us on to item number 6, which is public comment. We'll start first in the room. Is there any request for public comment here in the room? Any request for public comment here in the room? If not, we will then go online. Let me ask Ms. Blankenship, do we have any requests for public comment on our Zoom platform?
We do not.
Ms. Blankenship, thank you very much. I'll come back to the room. Any requests for public comment in the room?
Can I make a public comment?
I guess you can, yes. Commissioner Lawrence?
2 weeks ago, Penny Coyne came back and I planned on it when I saw her next to say, welcome back after a long hiatus. And we really missed you and your contributions. So thanks. Good to see you back.
Okay, with no other requests for public comment, thank you. We will move forward in the agenda then to item number 7, which is the fire chief's report. And is this going to be Chief Eastman online or Chief Maxwell in person?
Chief Maxwell in person, please.
Very good.
That's what I was going to say, but
Chief Maxwell.
thank you very much. Good evening, Chair, Board. We had just 2 quick items. We tragically, we did have a fatality fire Sunday afternoon. This residence actually was not, it was just northwest of the Alderwood Mall. There were, it was reported a pretty dark column of smoke right away as soon as the crews went responding. Crews arrived just extremely heavy fire involvement right when they got there. There's reports of occupants trapped. I can tell you, listening to the radio traffic and then speaking to the guys on scene when I got there, I'm extremely proud. Our crews, at their peril, tried to make entry into a heavily involved structure, trying to effect a rescue from both stories, every angle. I was just extremely proud. I was proud at how hard, even with real heavy fire involvement, they worked really hard to try and make a rescue. Tragically, we did have one fatality there, but our crews did fine work on that day. So next slide, please.
Questions?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
With that rapid fire growth and knowing that you guys have pretty much jetpacks on your back and are there within minutes, I'm always absolutely astonished. Is there any suspicion to this fire, accelerant involved or something akin to that?
Is ATF involved? There's quite a few investigative agencies, I believe, looking into the incident.
Okay, thank you.
And then this was another case. We were able to recognize Matt Talley. He was a crabber from Seattle. Happened to be in the area when we got called to a kayaker who had flipped out in some pretty rough seas off the shores of Edmonds there, right just by the dog park and the marina. While our crews were responding from the boat from multiple angles, this crabber was right there and actually heard her calling for help and worked to effect a rescue from his boat. It was a pretty moving story. It wasn't until his third try that he was able to pull her up onto his boat. But it was a moving event to recognize him and bring those two people back together. And just be able to recognize a citizen that helped us effect a rescue. So that was a really cool event. I think we did that yesterday afternoon. And with that, I would take any questions.
Great. Any questions for Chief Maxwell from the board members? Commissioner Teoflag.
I don't have a question, but there was an email that we got that talked about how there's more like cardiac arrest around the holidays. And in that email, it talked about how many firefighters it takes to CPR effectively. And you listed like this number, do this number, do that. And it was very clear. And I thought it was like the best thing I've read in a long time.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think there's a lot of misconceptions between what a heart attack is, what a cardiac arrest is, and how labor intensive those operations are. I mean, because really we're bringing an emergency. I think people don't realize we're bringing an emergency room and doing almost anything they would do in the hospital right there in somebody's living room. You know, you have to have a pharmacist and doctors and everybody there. And so I think it's great information, and I'm glad it landed well with you. So thank you for the feedback, and I'll be sure to, we worked with Christy on that. We'll be sure and pass that back. So thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, it's just good for all of our citizens to know.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Any other questions from the board members for Chief Maxwell? If not, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
That moves us forward in the agenda to item number 8, which is union reports. And we don't have anybody online. Chief, do you know?
Don't believe we have one tonight.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything either. Okay. With no union report, we will skip over that then and move on to item number 9, which is unfinished business. And that starts us with the amended and restated plan for South Snohomish County Fire and Rescue and Edmonds. And Chief Maxwell, will that be you or Chief Eastman?
That would be the real chief.
The real chief. All right, Chief Eastman, good evening.
Good evening, Chair Kenny, the rest of the board and staff and public. If you go to the agenda bill or the cover page for the document, we highlighted the changes that were made, and to give you a little bit of background, Commissioner Wittes had several conversations with both Council President Olson and Councilman Tibbetts since we had our last meeting. And there was a few things that they were wanting to change. And as we went through and looked at them, had some conversation with legal counsel, they actually did make sense to make the changes. One was, I guess, one of the key ones and was what happens with the fire stations if the city de-annexes or starts their own fire department again. And based on the principle of the fire stations coming to the RFA, because it's following the citizens of Edmonds and providing fire service, if the city were to de-annex from the RFA and start their own fire department again, in that same principle, the fire stations would go back to the follow the citizens and go back to the city. That's kind of like the major change. We did a couple administrative changes. We had Whatcom County in there instead of Snohomish County in one place. I think and then the other piece is for them to, and when it comes to parity, and I don't know if I just didn't do this. I know Commissioner Wittes had been talking to the city about this, is that if they were playing full parity with the temporary services agreement, that the RFA would pay for the 911 payments. Those were the main changes. There was a really small change to the amended plan. It was in the note section on the fixed assets. I can't remember what page it was, and we just added that if the added language in there that if the stations, if the city de-annexes, the stations go back. That was the only change in the pre-annexation or the amended plan. Then the majority of the changes that are in the agenda bill were to the temporary services agreement. So with that, I'll pause, see if Commissioner Wittes wants to add something.
Yeah, just to add to it, when they talked about parity and what would pay for, they brought up the left, they brought up the different things like that. Insurance was one of them, and I just told them no. That's just what it is, and that's how it is. We're willing to do the 911 fees, and that was it. So that's all the changes that we put in there that we went ahead and said okay to.
And so then I'll add, as the board is aware, the city council has the RFA amended plan and the pre-annexation agreement on their council agenda for action tonight. And so we'll take any other questions that the board may have. Otherwise, you have a resolution for the restated and amended RFA plan is one action item. And then the second would be to approve the pre-annexation agreement, which, if you recall, includes the temporary services agreement, the station use agreement, and the fire marshal agreement.
Thank you, Chief. Commissioner Chan.
Okay. Yeah, what's the de-annexation? What's the process of de-annexations?
The city. So we could do a de-annexation from our side, and de-annex the city of Edmonds. Could be action taken by the board, and then by resolution, the city. And was new to me. The city has the ability by resolution to start that process too.
But does not involve voter to voting and that type of thing?
Yeah,
It
that's
does
one of the
not.
things we need to talk about at the next meeting in January on our legislative stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Other General Commissioner Lawrence.
Yeah, the 9/11 costs,
Yes.
was that kind of so that's if we have a service agreement, and
That would be if they're paying all the taxes that we charge and the benefit charges, so it would be the same income that it would be if we annexed. So they'd be paying the full $19 million. They said that if they're paying the whole thing, shouldn't we pick up those pieces too? No different than annexation. So that was the question they had, because the way it is right now, the contract costs are more money than annexation. Yeah.
Okay.
And they were pretty much arguing they should be the same, which I see their point. I just said that's what it is.
Okay. Thank you.
So I guess I'll add, they didn't get everything they wanted because they wanted us to discount the cost based on the insurance for the stations and then their left liability, and we did not agree to that. So just so the board knows, that's the only concession that we made when it comes to that component of the parity conversation, was to cover the 911 expense.
Commissioner Fernhoff.
Yes, Chief. I'm just curious as to what's the positive energy currently right now with council addressing the public and interactions that you've had. Are we kind of coming and leveling the ground from what some of the bumps in the road that we might say that we had maybe a few weeks back?
I think so. I guess Council President Olson sent part of what she put in her council brief to the council just to make sure that she had things accurate, and she reached out to, I think, both Commissioner Wittes and myself just to make sure that the information was right. So I think we have. I think we're in a good place. I know they wanted more, but at the end, I think we're in a good place.
I believe right now there is 6 votes for going forward. I'm not sure about the 7th.
Thank you,
So
sirs.
in the last couple of meetings we've been down here, we've kind of explained a lot more to the full council. They didn't know that much about it.
Commissioner Chan.
Yeah, I just want to say all the other one, the 911 fees and insurance and all that stuff, those are really minor matter. And I want to thank Chief Wittes and Commissioner Wittes, doing all the work. I think we both sides need to be joining. I talked to some council member. We should embrace the whole thing with full energy and attempt positive, and so that I think the public of the Edmonds should be able to. We should set an example that we both annexation to be successful.
Chief Eastman, just to clarify, so the two things that we need to do vis-a-vis Edmonds is pass the resolution amending the RFA plan and then pass the pre-annexation agreement.
That's correct.
And that'll cover everything that we need to do.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Are there any other general questions or comments from the board members? Commissioner Fernhoff.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank both Chief Eastman and Commissioner Wittes for your hard work. Obviously, you're on the front lines down there, and we really do appreciate everything that you're doing.
So I think we are ready then to move forward with a vote. So let's turn first to the RFA plan. I'll move the adoption of Resolution 12172024-31, which is amendment of South Snohomish County Fire and Rescue Regional Fire Authority Plan. Is there a second? Commissioner Lawrence, it's been moved and seconded to amend the RFA plan. Is there discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, I'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. And any nay? The motion passes unanimously, and that is.
Did I see what Chief
Six.
Wittes's hand go up there?
It passes 6-0. Next, we'll move forward to the pre-annexation agreement. I'll move the adoption of the pre-annexation interlocal agreement between South Snohomish County Fire and Rescue Regional Fire Authority and the City of Edmonds in our packet at page 93. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Fernhoff. It's been moved and seconded to adopt that pre-annexation interlocal agreement. Is there discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, I'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you, Commissioner Kenny. Appreciate that. Ed and I are going to step away. The city of Edmonds has already passed their budget, so they're moving through their agenda pretty quick. So I'd love to go the good news of tonight.
And also,
That- That sounds good. Thank you so much.
and thank you for your support. And the other thing, Chair, if we could, under new business, 10C, can we move that to the first meeting in January?
Hold on just one second. 10C, oh, the legislative discussion. Yes, that's fine. First meeting in January. That sounds good.
And can we come home now?
No, not yet. You still have ambassadorial duties to undertake.
Okay, we're going there. Thank you.
All right, thank
Just
you.
keep track of your overtime.
All right. So that was item 9A in the packet. That moves us forward to item number 9B, which is adoption of the 2024 year-end budget amendment, which addresses left one, medical reserve, capital fund, building reserve, and self-insurance fund. And this will be with our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Bothwell. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Chair. So I presented this item in some detail a couple weeks ago, so I just have a really brief introduction for you tonight. This item is a routine budget amendment. It's the one we do at year end just about every year. It affects three funds. The first is the Left One Medical Reserve Fund, and that is where we account for the benefits that we provide to our Left One retirees. We've seen slightly higher than normal claim volume in that fund this year, and so we're looking for a $200,000 increase in the expenditure budget to ensure that we have the budget authority to pay claims through the end of the year. And that budget amendment will not affect the stability of that fund. The second one is the capital fund, and specifically it's the building reserve. And this item is just housekeeping. We purchased some properties earlier this year that were not budgeted. That purchase wasn't budgeted. And so we're just coming back to get that into the budget. So strictly housekeeping on that one. And then the third one is for the healthcare self-insurance fund. I mentioned last time I presented this item that we've seen some extraordinary claims in the high dollar value claims this year. And so we need an amendment to account for those. We've got a revenue adjustment of $1.1 million to recognize the revenue from our, it escapes me, the stop loss policy. And then another $2.5 million of expenditure authority to pay those big claims. So despite the amendment, the self-insurance fund will meet its reserve target that's set externally by the state. And we are seeking action on this item tonight, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Bothwell on the year-end budget amendment resolution? Any questions? If not, I think we're ready to move forward on that resolution. I'll move the adoption of resolution number 1217-2024-30, which is at page 155 of the packet, which is amending the Left One Medical Reserve Fund budget, Capital Fund Building Reserve budget, and Health Care Self-Insurance Fund budget to ensure that the funds have sufficient budgetary authority through year end. Is there a second?
A second.
Well, Commissioner Fernhoff seconded first. Sorry, Commissioner Chan. So
I was
that's-
whispering, you couldn't hear me.
So that's been moved and seconded to adopt that resolution. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, I'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously 5-0. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bothwell. So that moves us forward in the agenda to item 9C, which is the purchase of one hazmat rescue truck. And Chief
Chief, this will go to, 9C, D, and E will be conducted by Chief Anderson in the absence of Chief Curtis.
That sounds good. Chief Anderson, good evening.
Good evening. So, yeah, our amazing logistics chief is on vacation tonight, so I'll be trying to stand in for him. I'll make my way down item by item for each vehicle. Okay, so this is for the hazmat rescue truck for $706,319, and this is actually on the 2025 replacement schedule. Any questions from the previous meeting or tonight?
Any questions from the board members? Chief Anderson, Commissioner Fernhoff.
Yeah, the only thing I pointed out last week, well, there was two conditions. One, we wouldn't pass anything unless James was present physically. So get him on a plane back here from San Diego. No, that's just the joke. But my only question was it robust enough and big enough? Because I know that there was some
Yeah.
trimming down, but once you take a swing at the pinata and the candy comes out, we're not likely to go and,
So
string up another one.
you're absolutely right. So down at FRI this year at conference, I was able to view this vehicle and in the prototype of what we're getting. And it's actually really roomy in the cab and has plenty of seating for what we need and everything. And the equipment and, the shelving and the compartments and everything were way more adequate than what we currently provide. So I think it does take us into the future and it provides a stable truck for us as well.
Thank you, sir.
Chief Anderson, if the motion is to approve it in the amount of $706,319, is that sufficient? Do you need something else in the motion?
Let me check his cover sheet here for his agenda bill. That looks to be sufficient from what he has written here in his agenda bill.
Okay, that sounds good. Is there any general discussion on the hazmat truck? If not, we're ready for a motion. I'll move the motion that we approve the purchase of one BME Freightliner hazmat rescue truck for $706,319.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Chan. It's been moved and seconded to approve the purchase of that hazmat truck. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any
I have a discussion.
Commissioner Chan, go ahead.
Yeah, in general, I really favor that the equipment is the most important part besides our personnel. So I definitely will go through the chief and that's what they need. I think that's important.
Any other discussion on the on the motion for the hazmat truck? Any other discussion? If not, we'll move to vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Passes unanimously 5-0. That moves us forward then to item number 9D, which is the purchase of a Pierce Enforcer pumper truck in the amount of $1,213,285. Chief Anderson.
So this is a pumper that is, of course, on the 2025 replacement schedule, just like the hazmat rig for budgetary, for what's on our replacement schedule and everything. It's a duplicate pumper to what we've currently been ordering, so nothing new there. Can I take any questions on it?
Any questions for Chief Anderson on the pumper truck? Commissioner Fernhoff.
Is this more than the last one is this more monies than the last one that we had paid for?
I'm going to defer over to my finance director over there. Is this on par with what we've been ordering?
It seems just slightly more monies.
Yeah, it's scheduled for delivery in 2027. And so part of it is that.
Was there like an inflation cost that's built in?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Any other discussion, general discussion on the issue of the pumper truck? If not, I think we're ready for a motion. I'll move the purchase. We approve the purchase of one Pierce Enforcer pumper truck in the amount of $1,213,285. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Teofilak. It's been moved and seconded to purchase that Pierce pumper truck. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, I'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously 5-0. That moves us forward in the agenda to item 9E, which is the purchase of two Ford Explorer SUVs, two Ford F-150 trucks, and two Ford Escape SUVs. Chief Anderson.
So on this item, I do want to discuss a little bit of what was on the last board meeting that you had brought up, that the SUVs are different and not all of them have to be the same. James has kept a really good replacement on what we need for vehicles going forward, not necessarily all the same type. So for instance, in prevention, we have 4 new F-150s. Those F-150s are outfitted for the investigation unit and of course carries a lot more equipment than what I need for people that are out doing inspections and that are doing normal plan reviews or new construction type inspections. So that's why we went with the smaller SUV, more economical, easier to park, and meets the needs. It also a little bit more economically cheaper than buying a F-150. After these trucks also meet a certain time limit, he has a plan to rotate those for other divisions and pool cars as well. So they do get a full lifespan out of them. And with that, would there be any questions?
Any questions for Chief Anderson on the staff vehicle purchase request? If not, I think we're ready for a motion. I will move the board approve the purchase of 2 Ford Explorer SUVs, 2 Ford F-150 PPV trucks, and 2 Ford Escape SUVs in the total amount of approximately $262,152. It's been moved and seconded by Commissioner. It goes to Commissioner Fernhoff. It's been moved and seconded to authorize the purchase of those 6 vehicles. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously 5-0. Thank you, Chief Anderson. Next up, we have item 9F, which is the board adoption, consideration and possible adoption of the recognition awards program and banquet. Is this Chief Maxwell?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yes, this is coming back to you for approval for the resolution covering the banquet and awards. This was some legal cleanup work we did with our attorney. Pays for the banquet hall meal for the employee, including full-time, part-time, and volunteers. Costs for any significant others would be the responsibility of the employee or their guest. And then it puts some limits on the cost of awards. And then it clarifies anything else could be supplemental or financed by the local in a partnership with the local. So this is really just a cleanup from a previous resolution.
And this is located at page 174 to 175 in the budget packet. Are there any general questions or comments about the resolution, the banquet resolution from the board members? If not, I think we're ready for a motion. I'll move the adoption of resolution 12172024-29 at page 174 to 175 of the packet concerning a banquet policy. Is there a second?
I'm second.
Seconded by Commissioner Chan. It's been moved and seconded to adopt that resolution. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Passes unanimously 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. That moves us forward on the agenda then to item 9G, which is the Briar Fire Marshal Interlocal Agreement. Chief Anderson.
Yeah, so the Briar Agreement, the base of it is still the same as the other ILAs, with the exception of some changes that I worked on with our liaison Paula Swisher to offset the timelines to meet their council's needs and their governance needs to adopt fee schedules. They have still yet to sign this document, but it's been vetted by both Briar and us. And Paula, you can chime in on this as well for accuracy, but we're moving it forward with it with their approval to go ahead and adopt this. And then they'll make action on this after the first of the year. I'm guessing sometime mid-January to the beginning of February.
So Chief Anderson, it's ready for voting.
It's ready for a vote.
Okay.
Yeah, the
And
main
Board Liaison Swisher,
difference
go
for
ahead.
us is that we're going to put language in our fee schedule that just adopts your fee schedule so that every year we don't have to go back and do anything because of the fact that we don't look at our fee schedule until February. We already have language in it that coincides with Alderwood Water and the work we do with them.
That sounds good. So, Board Liaison Swisher, are there any problems on the Briar end? Let me put it that way.
No, it just didn't line up, and tonight was our last meeting. And I have to take it to a workshop with my council before they will vote on it. So that will be at the first of the year.
That sounds good. Are there any general questions from board members about the Briar Fire Marshal's Office interlocal agreement? If not, I think we're ready for a motion on that. I'll move the adoption of the interlocal agreement between South Snohomish County Fire and Rescue Regional Fire Authority and the City of Briar for fire code official services. Is there a second? Commissioner Lawrence? Is that Commissioner Lawrence? Yes. All right, Commissioner Lawrence seconds the motion. So it's been moved and seconded to adopt the Briar, the interlocal agreement with Briar for fire marshal services, fire code official services. Is there discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, that takes us forward then in the agenda to item 9H, which is the Mill Creek Fire Marshal interlocal agreement for discussion and possible action. Chief Anderson.
So this is, Mill Creek is similar. No major changes to the Mountain Lake Terrace agreement. So this will complete all the cities in the RFA to be relatively on the same ILA. So that's a milestone for us. And same situation, their council still needs to go work session. They still need to vote on this, but we have a verbal permission to go ahead and move forward on our end since this is our last meeting of the year to adopt. And the other piece I want to add in is the fee schedule. We're in agreement upon the fee schedule. Mill Creek still has a lot of work to do that we're working with them to kind of set up a billing process. And we're going to actually pull Linwood in to help out with that. They subcontract a lot of their work for billing. And because of that, they're not set up the same as the other cities. But it's a workable problem that we're working with them currently. And we'll have that, we're going to help them set that up so that way they're paying just like the fees, just like the other cities. That's the only thing that's kind of hanging out there right now. So with that, I would call for action on the ILA.
Are there any general questions or comments from the board members about the Mill Creek Fire Code Official Services ILA? Commissioner Fernhoff.
Yes, Chief, you said there was a verbal agreement. Is that like lines of authority or what?
From the city manager
Okay.
that said, go ahead and basically told us, go ahead and move on it. We're going to approve the ILA is what he said for the language that's in it. They were in agreement with it. It's been through their legal. It's been through our legal, and Richard Davis did work one with their lawyer on it.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions for Chief Anderson on the Mill Creek proposed ILA? If not, I think we're ready for a motion on that. I will move the adoption of the interlocal agreement between South Snohomish County Fire and Rescue Regional Fire Authority and the City of Mill Creek for fire code official services. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Lawrence. It's been moved and seconded to adopt that interlocal agreement with Mill Creek for fire code official services. Is there discussion on the motion? Discussion on the motion. If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes our old business, our unfinished business in item 9. And that moves us on to, in the agenda, to item 10, which is new business, starting with 10A, which is a surplus of apparatus 71, which is a ladder truck. And that is, sorry, just getting it to it in the packet. That is at page 206 in the packet, and the actual resolution to declare the surplus is at 208. It's resolution 1217-2024-28. Chief Anderson?
Chief Anderson, evening.
Excellent. All right. Go ahead.
So this is a resolution that Chief Curtis talked about for retiring the E1 And it's been a really good truck. I mean, it had a really good reputation in the operations world of being very dependable. So I'm sorry to see it go, but it has reached its lifespan. And I believe it was a 2001 E1 that was ordered strictly stock offline, and it's done a magnificent job. So we're asking to let it gracefully go out into retirement.
Sounds good. Any general questions from the board for Chief Engineer Commissioner Fernhoff?
Yeah, this is different from the ladder truck that we're sharing with Tulalip, right? Is it the same?
This used to be.
It's the same truck.
It's
Yeah.
the same truck. Okay, and I see here it's gonna go to the Daily Dispatch first and offered up to other departments before we put it out to general auction.
I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% sure on that,
what it
on
says on
what
the
James
page.
planned, but
I just.
I
if
know
it's
that
such a
I know
good-
that he was going to inquire. Yeah, he was going to put it out for sale.
That would be ideal if that were the case. It's offered up to a smaller department that can't afford it. Go out and buy $1 million or $2 million ladder truck. That would be awesome.
I believe James did talk that he might have a buyer, just
Excellent.
like you're talking about.
Excellent. Awesome.
There's interest.
It's seasonal though, right? They put Christmas lights on top of trees or something. Thank you, sir.
I will add just the last one that we did this with, I get to see in every Christmas parade in Clallam because Kittitas County Fire District 7 has that truck now. So yeah, ladder 15.
Any other questions from the board members about the surplusing, general questions about surplusing that ladder truck? If not, then I think we're ready for the resolution on that. I'll move the adoption of resolution 12172024-28, which is at page 208 of the packet. It's the resolution to declare apparatus 71, the ladder truck, surplus property. It's been seconded by Commissioner Fernhoff. So it's been moved and seconded to adopt that resolution. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously 5-0. Thank you. That moves us forward on the agenda to item 10D, which is our approval of the 2025 board meeting calendar. And that is at page 209 of your board meeting packet. It basically has all of the first 3 Tuesdays of each month in there, set as our regular meetings, with the first and second meeting of the month, Tuesday, 7 p.m. being regular meeting, and the second meeting of the month being the work session, just like usual. There is in there noted a spring workshop to be determined, so a date's not in there. We would need to determine a date if we choose to do that at a later time. And then there are a couple of changes. Ordinarily, we would meet on the first Tuesday of August, which is August 5th, but because that's National Night Out, we're moving it over one day to Wednesday, August 6th, 7 p.m. for our regular meeting. Same type of idea with the November 4th is the general election. We would ordinarily meet that first Tuesday of the month. We're moving it over one day to Wednesday, November 5th, due to the general election on the 4th. And for a similar idea, but slightly different reason, Tuesday, November 11th is Veterans Day. It's a holiday. And so we're going to move the what we would ordinarily have our second meeting, work session meeting of the month that day. We're moving over one day to Wednesday, November 12th. So that is the meeting. Is there any meeting schedule for the year? Is there any general comments or thoughts about the calendar? Okay, well, I think we're ready for a motion on it. I will move the adoption of that 2025 proposed calendar as our board meeting calendar. Seconded by Commissioner Teoflag. It's been moved and seconded to set that 2025 board meeting calendar. Is there discussion on the motion? Discussion on the motion. If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. 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 Opposed? Passes unanimously 5-0. Sorry, just making a note there. Okay, that is item 10B. 10C, Commissioner Wittes asked that we move that, but I did want to see, Ms. Blankenship, was there anything that, or Chief Maxwell, was there anything we needed to discuss regarding legislative now for moving that whole thing over to first meeting of January?
No.
I just wanted to state that the Washington Fire Commissioners Association Legislative Day, the joint legislative day with Washington Fire Chiefs, it's happening February 6th
Ah,
of
okay.
2025. If you want to make note of that, I'll be sending out more information about that, 8 a.m. In Olympia. And Washington Fire Chiefs Association is primarily taking the lead on registration for that, but you'll hear a lot more about that in the month to come.
And what day of the week is that? February 6th?
Oh, good question.
They usually do it on a Tuesday, but that's why I ask.
6th Thursday. this
Thursday,
year.
okay, all right. Okay, so that's what we've got for legislative, but we'll be talking some more about that with Commissioner Wittes at the first meeting in January. That moves us forward then in the agenda to committee item 11, which is committee updates. So for committee updates, we start with number 1 is Capital Facilities Committee with Commissioner Lawrence.
Tomorrow at 10 a.m. is the big day, right? No, Thursday. Yeah, I was just testing you guys, see if you're awake. Again, Thursday. Yeah, and yeah. So we'll have big news there in January. I'll tell you all about it.
Okay, sounds good. Let's see, Finance and Human Resources, Commissioner Teofleck.
Yep. Yeah, we met last Thursday and we talked about the administration's long-term strategic planning effort for 2025 and how we'll be focusing on that for the first half of the year, starting in 2025. And also we'll be talking about that in our spring workshop. We also talked about major contract expenditure reviews and evaluations, and then we talked about the 2023 audit, which I may be taking a part of. And that's it.
Great, thank you. Next up is intergovernmental. Chief Commissioner Wittes spoke a moment ago. I don't know that there's anything more. Is there anything more on intergovernmental that anybody has? No? Okay. All right, we'll skip over that then and move on to Snow 911 with Commissioner Furnoff.
Yeah, the Snow 911 folks will be meeting this Thursday. Currently no update, so we'll have some new news for you probably when we roll into January.
Sounds good. Thank you. All right, that moves us forward on the agenda to item number 12, which is commissioner comments. Are there any commissioner comments for this evening? Any commissioner comments? Oh, sorry, Commissioner Chan, go ahead.
I just thank you, and I wish everybody a great holidays, and I should be back in January. Well, should be. I don't know. That might be changed too. All right. Thank you. Thank you for Commissioner Geoflag for taking on the Finance Committee. Really great job.
Do we need to excuse Commissioner Rowland?
I'll address that in just a second. Any other commissioner comments? I did want to note for the record that Commissioner Rowland and Board Liaison Kritcher are both excused from tonight's meeting. And if you want to know more, talk to me after the meeting. As this is our last meeting of 2024, no special meetings this year after today, yay. I did want to say thank you to Chief Eastman and his staff and all of the employees of South County Fire. I also want to thank all of our citizens and residents that support South County Fire throughout the year. We've accomplished a lot of good things this year, a lot of interesting things, and interesting things to come in 2025. One of the big things was the extension of the fire benefit charge or the benefit charge vote this year. But we were able to pass our budget and did redistricting and a number of other significant issues, and that doesn't even count all of the operational issues that the chiefs keep us updated on. So lots of interesting things going on at South County Fire. Looking forward to 2025 and the challenges ahead. Lots of challenges coming in 2025, but we're well positioned as an organization to take on those challenges, particularly with the support of our residents that make it all possible with their time, their attention, their dollars, their tax dollars pay to make our organization go. But we provide the service that they very much need, public service, to keep people safe. And rely on us when they pick up the phone and call. So just wanted to thank everybody here at South County Fire here at the end of the year. Wish everybody a happy holidays. And this is our last meeting of the year. So we will, we do have one item of business though for the board in executive session. And that's going to be executive session to review the performance of a public employee. We should probably take about a 5-minute break going back to executive session. Hold on just a minute, Commissioner Chen. So maybe, and then we'll get started, maybe let's make it like 8 minutes, back to 8 o'clock. Then we'll kick off with our executive session. We're going to do that for, let's say, 45 minutes, so 8 to 8:45. For executive session, we do not anticipate taking action at the conclusion of the executive session. And Commissioner Chan, I'm sorry, you had your hand raised. Go ahead.
No, I don't want to finish the meeting without asking this question. Our liaison people, they still come on with us on 2025, right?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure because Paula will keep us straight, okay? Paula, thank you for speak your
You're
mind
stuck
and
with me
everything
for
else.
another year.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Yeah, that sounds good. Great. And so with that, we will be in a recess back to executive session. Thank you.
Thank you.